Welcome to Larry the Alchemist, and welcome to another edition of Sabbath Sunday. This is where Darin and I get together with you on Sundays to discuss all things Black Sabbath. Darin and I have a Black Sabbath podcast called Into the Void, a Black Sabbath podcast. I will leave a link to that below in the description so you can check that out. For today's episode, we're going to be discussing, as of the recording of this episode, some relatively current news that Ozzy has announced that he is done with touring. So we're here to discuss that today. So Darin, Ozzy said this before, but this time I think it's for real. What's your thoughts on Ozzy deciding not to tour anymore?
I think it's a rational decision. I mean, if anybody's seen pictures of him recently, the way that he looks, he's tottery. He can barely stand up. He has to have a cane. I can't imagine him on stage. He did that thing recently in a football field. You know what I'm talking about? And he was like harnessed. I think he was harnessed.
Yeah.
Was that the one where he was harnessed?
He did two things recently. He did the patient number 9, and then he did something with Iomi where they did Paranoid at something in England. And one of those, they had him like to something, or it was.
I don't want to see Ozzy like that. And you know what? It's like everybody talks about, well, Ozzy as a singer could never or hasn't brought it strong on stage for a long time, and it's not really the point of seeing Ozzy. You know, he's a very energetic singer. That's his show. He runs from one side of the stage to the other. Even if he's in center stage, he's jumping up and down. He's doing jumping jacks. He's interacting with the audience. He's doing that little leapfrog thing where he like puts down on all fours and he jumps up and claps his hands. He's a physical entertainer, and obviously when you see pictures of him and you've seen any film of him recently, his body is it's crooked. He's had surgery. Hopefully he'll get better, and hopefully he may be able to entertain the idea of doing a couple shows or something. But touring, I mean, it's just I can't imagine him in being in any kind of condition to do that right now. But the thing about it was, when it came out, it was sad. I mean, it was like big news, and everybody's talking about it as if he had died. It was kind of like emotional. It's like, well, wait a minute, let's put the brakes on here. Of course he can't tour. I mean, look at he's in poor health. She just got finished with having a major operation not more than like 3 months or so ago. Yeah, I mean, this is like stating the obvious, but I think that the thing that made it the most emotional was everybody's reaction to it. I guess people that really haven't been following Ozzy, and then hearing about this, thinking that it was something like, oh my God. But this is something has been brewing now for several years, you know. So
I think part of it is that, and I agree with everything that you said. I think it's smart that he doesn't tour anymore. I was almost sort of feeling like, man, if he does go out, like almost like guilty, like, gosh, they're making this guy go through this. And granted, he wants to do it, his heart's into it and everything. But I just really felt like, man, Oz, you've given us enough. You've certainly paid your dues. You've done your time. You know, just please just take care of yourself. But I think what it is with the recent health scares, health related things that he's had, and now him saying this, that he's not going to be touring. It's really kind of a reminder that you know, how much longer. I hope Ozzy lives forever, but it's just a reminder that our heroes are mortals.
Yeah.
And he has looked very, very frail, you know, and it reminds me of, and it's also two things on this point. It reminds me of the way Lemmy looked before he died. I remember hearing that Lemmy was sick. I saw some videos of him, and then I didn't see anything or hear anything for a little while. And then I saw like an interview or something with him, and I was like, oh my gosh, like he had lost a lot of weight. His voice was very frail. And you mentioned about Ozzy live at whatever this TV appearance was, where they were sort of like holding him up, or he was leaning against something, or whatever the situation was. the last time I saw Motorhead, when they came through Orlando, it was not long before Lemmy passed. And I had seen Motorhead before that. And I wanted to see him again because I knew that Lemmy was ill. And all the respect in the world to Lemmy, there's probably no other way he would have had it but to be out there on the road. He just knew no other life. He truly was a road warrior. But it was kind of it was almost upsetting
Yeah,
at times, when he spoke between songs. He was very frail. He looked very thin. His hands were shaking when he was playing. And I mean, he got up there like he gave it his all, there's no doubt about it. But I
sure.
couldn't help but feel almost like a tear in my eye or something, because I just knew that it was like, wow, he's really sick here. And I'm glad I got to see him. But it's the same thing with Ozzy. It's kind of like, I'm okay, Oz, you've done your time. Thank you for everything. Just stay at home. And
Sure.
if just because he says he's not going to tour, that doesn't mean he may not still do something. And at this point in his life, I really think that, okay, he's over in England right now. I don't know if he still has his place in LA. It doesn't matter, I guess. He could do something where he just does like a one-off 2 nights in LA, maybe a break between the two shows. Do something where it's like an all-star band. Different people get up and play with him. Maybe he does a short set or something, or you know what I mean? If every now and then he could come out and still make an appearance if he wants to, if his health is up to it. He doesn't even, at this point, if he just went out and did a short show, or if he was sitting for some of the show, I mean, but then, again, it's tough because, like you said, you have these memories of Ozzy being young and doing all this stuff. So I'm perfectly fine with the guy saying, "Hey, I can't do this anymore." Maybe he'll still record. He seemed to be really energized by Patient Number 9. There was very little time between that and the previous album, so Ordinary Man. So maybe this is his thing now. Maybe he'll just put out more frequent albums. I'm okay with that. And if just every now and then he makes an appearance and sings a couple songs at a football game or a soccer game or something like
Yeah,
that, that's the way it has to be, then that's the way it has to be.
sure. Make it a special engagement. Um, seeing Ozzy live is like I said, it's about, he's a physical entertainer. So you could say, well, after 50 years, and I know I've seen Ozzy both with Sabbath and solo about 15 times. I'm good. I don't really want to see him like you mentioned about with Lemmy. I don't want to see Ozzy like Lemmy. I don't want to see him looking like he's on his last leg. That's not going to be a fun concert. It's going to be emotional, and it's not how I won't enjoy it as much. And so I think we're past that point. I don't think we're going to have an Ozzy where you're going to see him smiling from ear to ear, clapping his hands and running around and throwing buckets of water on the audience and mooning, the audience, all those things that he's been known to do. You're not going to see that. I mean, those days are gone. And you could say, well, it's unfortunate for the people that haven't seen Ozzy that maybe, he's got this, Patient Number 9, and it's won 2 Grammys, and it's doing well. And it's a great album. I like it. I listen to it
Yeah.
all the time. I just listened to it last night, as a matter of fact. I really, really enjoyed it. So from, the success of this album, he's going to be bringing in new fans, and it's unfortunate that they're not going to be able to see him the way that you and I and a lot of people that are watching this had the opportunity to. But that's life. I mean, he's 74 years old. You
Yeah.
can't expect him to be this, ageless, immortal, even though there's a song on the new album called Immortal. But he's not. He's 74 years old. He had that accident on the quad. We're lucky that he's even alive, really. And so you got to take what you can get. 74 years old. He put out a great album. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I mean, I've seen him a lot of times, and it's unfortunate for the people that haven't. But you know what? You're you're not going to see him the way that he was 30 years ago,
Yeah.
40 years ago. You know, those days are long gone. So even if you did see Ozzy, it's a shadow of what he was known for as
Yeah.
as an artist, performer, however you want to qualify it. So you're not, even if you, they bring him out, they wheel him out on a gurney and they prop him up against something. It's like you can say that, well, I'm going to see Ozzy. Ozzy's on tour, but it's not really Ozzy. It's the
Yeah.
74-year-old version of Ozzy, you know. And
I think
time's a bitch, you know.
yeah,
The way
and
it
I
is.
think what's upsetting, I think why it's upsetting people, and it made me think this way too. He did this when he did his No More Tours tour,
Yeah,
but at that time it was just kind of like,
gimmick.
hey, he's just tired of this. He's ready to retire, and that's it.
Yeah,
This is he's sick. He has ailments, and it's just reminding everybody that, again, how much longer do we have, and we should cherish these albums and cherish these moments, because I mean, I'm going to tell you, everybody out there, when Ozzy passes, man, I'm going to be a wreck. I mean, he's a
yeah.
huge part of my musical life,
I'm
and
with you, brother. I'm with you.
it's
Yeah,
going to
it's
be a
gonna be a
tough
hard
one.
one.
It's
I'm
it's
gonna.
really going to hit, because if you think of anybody who's like, just this real sort of godfather of heavy metal, gosh, you certainly got to put Ozzy in that discussion if he's not number one, Ronnie up there too. And,
Yeah,
but, Ozzy is just this guy that he so represents the music that we love. I guess that's
sure.
the way to put it. So to see him sick and everything like that, again, you feel like these guys are invincible, and it feels like they're going to live forever, but you just get reminded at times like this that's not the
Yeah,
case. And so I'm just grateful. We've already mentioned Patient Number 9. I'm so grateful. We did a review of Patient Number 9. I'll link it in the description down below. Both Darin and I love that album, and it's so cool that at this stage in Ozzy's life, we get a great album like that, and we're cherishing it. It maybe even more, because you never know. You don't. Is this the last one? Have everything like that. So
yeah, yeah. I like it more now than I did when we did our review. I liked it then, but I've had more time to really like absorb it and listen to it. And there's some songs I just think are fantastic. It actually is my favorite Ozzy solo album, uh, beyond Diary. So my favorites would be Blizzard and Diary, of course, and then I'd put Patient Number 9 after
nice.
Diary. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
maybe
ranks up
we'll
that high for me. I think it's great.
yeah, maybe we'll do a video like, I don't know how many months out we are from the album, 6 months out from the album or something like
Yeah,
that. Because it's the same way for me. I often will really get into something for a while, but then when I stop listening to it, I never really quite come back to it. But this Patient Number
yeah,
9, it's just I've steadily listened
yeah.
to that record. I come back to it quite frequently. So
Hmm. Yeah, I do too. I listen to it probably about once a week, if not more. And I didn't, even after I listened to it the first couple times and I decided that I liked it, I decided that it was good. I wasn't sure. Well, but there's things I like that I think that are good, but I don't end up revisiting them very often. But this one I do.
mhm.
Mr. Darkness. I love that song. God
Yeah,
only knows.
yeah,
There's just some really good quality Ozzy stuff here. That I mean, the whole album from front to back, I think is great. There's some songs that I don't like as much as others, but overall, I mean, I think it's great. So I am appreciative of that. I didn't see it coming. I thought Ordinary Man was probably going to be the last album
mm,
we were going to have from Ozzy.
yeah,
It had kind of a poignant quality about it, like this is me signing off. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for the
yeah,
memories. And that was kind of bittersweet. And I thought it was okay. I don't think I've listened to it probably since it came out. Um, but I had no idea that there was going to be that he had another album up his sleeve, or that it would
so
be as good
quickly.
as Patient Number 9. And so I'm really surprised, pleasantly surprised. And does he have another one as good, if or better than Patient Number 9? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But he did say in one of the interviews where he was talking about not touring anymore, how he's like, I can still sing, but
Yeah.
I just can't, I can't tour. I can't
Yeah.
do the physical part of it. So, and I think his voice sounds good. I'm sure there's auto tune on it, but I mean, I've heard auto tune that was way
Yeah.
more conspicuous than this is. So, whatever they did to get him to sound that way, it sounds pretty natural to my ears. And if he can do another album and it's as good as Patient Number 9, I'm happy with that. I don't have to see Ozzy again.
Yeah.
And
And it was such a quick turnover from Ordinary Man to Patient Number 9. I was really expecting Ozzy at this point releasing albums every like 7 years or
yeah,
whatever. It
yeah,
was like a very long time between Scream and Ordinary Man. And like you said, it did kind of feel like okay, this is my last album. I'm wrapping things up here. So it was a very nice surprise. Patient Number 9 seemed to just kind of come out of nowhere, like it was a bit of a surprise when it was announced that that album was coming out. So yeah, that was pleasant. And if this means that Ozzy's going to be able to get another album out quickly, then I'm all for that. Keeping him off the road is probably the best thing for his health. So hey, it's total respect to Ozzy. We can only respect him for everything that he's done and given to the world of hard rock and heavy metal. So
yeah.
okay, so there's Darin and I's thoughts on Ozzy announcing his retirement from touring. Let us know in the comments down below what you guys think, and we'll see you at the next Sabbath Sunday.